Three quintessentials of just like me for real angst: Stephen King, J.D. Salinger, Jane Eyre. Dude, I hate the character Holden Caulfield. That is what I'll say. They made us read Catcher in the Rye, and there is no. So I typically liked like all of the classics that I was forced to read because, you know, they're pretty good. They're a little annoying when you're forced to read them, but like I liked reading, so it wasn't really a problem for me. I did notice like most kids in classes kind of like being like, oh, I hate this. But then if they read one of those outside of class, like beforehand, they'd usually like it. I think that book was the hardest for everyone to get through, as far as like classmates and stuff, because so many people just could not stand that character. And then it was funny because there were a few people that would also completely love that character and relate to him, and then everyone else would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it was so funny. it's just so funny seeing like a classroom of kids get completely split between like a few of them love Holden Caulfield and they're like, that's literally me, and then the rest of them are like, I hate that guy. Yeah, it's really funny. I just remember like starting reading the book and being like, I don't know if I can get through this. I think there are very few books, I don't know about you guys, very few books that I've picked up that I felt like I could not get myself to read. That was one of them. I got through it and it was the most painstaking experience. That and one of the other books that was just so annoying to read was Ulysses. And I liked that book. I liked the story, but the prose was so fucking annoying to read through. So, hardest books for me were Catcher in the Rye and Ulysses. Catcher in the Rye because I hated Holden so much I didn't want to read it, and then Ulysses because it's fucking Joyce. And I don't know if you guys have read it, but just don't. Just read a synopsis. This is an utter slog for you. Speak English. Exactly. Let me see if I could find an excerpt from Ulysses to read, like a really short one, just so you can understand how the writing was. This is basically, yeah, it's one of the books that's meant to be the hardest read possible. It's it's public domain. Oh, okay, an excerpt from Ulysses by James Joyce. It was written in 1922, or published in 1922, it looks like. Okay. so God, I read the opening line to myself and I hate it. Here's an excerpt from the book. Get a light snack and Davy Burns. Stopgap. Keep me going. Had a good breakfast. Roast and mashed here. Pint of stout. That's dialogue. Every fellow for his own, tooth and nail. Gulp, grub, gulp, gob stuff. He came out into clearer air and turned back towards Grafton Street. Eat or be eaten. Eaten. Kill. Kill. This is real in this book. Suppose that communal kitchen years to come, perhaps. All trotting down with porringers and Tommy cans to be filled, devour contents in the street. John Howard Parnell example, the provost of Trinity every mother's son, don't talk of your provost and provost of Trinity women, killed children, cabmen, priests, parsons, field marshals, archbishops. From Aylesbury Road, Clyde Road, Arson's dwellings, North Dublin Union, Lord Mayor and his gingerbread coach, old queen in a bath chair. My plate's empty. After you, with our incorporated drinking cup, like Sir Philip Crampton's fountain. Rub off the microbes with your handkerchief. Next chap rubs on a new batch with his. Father O'Flynn would make hares in them all. Have rows all the same. All for number one. Children fighting for the scrapings of the pot. Want a soup pot as big as the Phoenix Park. Harpooning flitches and hindquarters out of it. Hate people all around you. City Arms Hotel. I can't read this anymore. It's just like a dude rambling. It's You're offended by this syntax? Dude, I'm telling you, this fucking book, Ulysses, is like one of the hardest things to read because it's just some guy's inner monologue. And it's actually really well done when you see it that way, but it's so hard to read because it doesn't make sense in written form the same way as if you have it read out loud to you. And even then, it's fucking hard. And it's a cool story too. Like the guy's like a detective, and you know there's mystery about, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the book that I found really interesting. But I had to reread so many paragraphs to be like, what the fuck is this paragraph telling me? What is progressing in the story here? Because I would read through it and then I'd be like, what happened? I would black out, you know? I would read a page of Ulysses and be like, I don't know what just happened. I read all of those words and I just you just get so distracted by the dude's thoughts, you know? But it's a cool read if you like that sort of thing. I just think it's like one of the hardest books to get through, dude. It's a book that I love and hate. Love and hate so much. He said I could get the same experience at a train station from a homeless guy. That's literally, yeah. This book feels like some guy sat down and started talking into like a device and started telling a story from the perspective of the zoo's brain, just into something like audio wise. It doesn't sound written, which is so fucking weird. So fucking weird. GEEGA, why don't you write books or at least publish them? I think you would kill it as a publisher. That would take way too much time. I used to like creative writing a lot. I used to do it for fun because you could do it for almost free. You just had to buy paper. So I used to do a lot of creative writing in my spare time when I was younger. Yeah, that's it. I would have loved to be an author, but it seemed like it was such a hit or miss profession. Like if you can publish a few books, you might do really well for yourself. But yeah, writing a book is a big undertaking. Exactly. I wrote something that I would consider a novella, not a full novel, that I liked at the time. I was pretty young, but I was like not a teenager anymore. I finished it, and I think I finished it early college, like my first year of college. That was the thing that I did to keep myself sane outside of class. Was I worked on that, and it took me years. It took me years to like go over it and rewrite until I was happy with it. And I never published it because I didn't like it. I was happy with the end result, and by the time I was done writing it, because it took years, I was like, I would write something else if I started now. I wouldn't write this shit, you know. And I was just so done with it. And I could see myself having continued, but I felt like I didn't like, you know, like that feeling of having finished it and being like, if I wanted to publish this, I would have had to publish something that I don't know. I didn't like spending 5 years on something. Now you can write a book in a year if you're a good writer, whatever. But I don't know. It was just one of those things that, like, if I wanted to continue doing it and do it at a pace where I could publish things and try to make it a job, I would have had to do nothing but that. And I wasn't going to drop my prospects for that because my prospects were good. You know? So I did enjoy it. And, like, if I retired early, I would probably just take up writing as a hobby straight up. It's just something I always loved, playing video games and writing. But, like, nah, not enough to, like, not do my other shit that was stable for it. You know? So no thanks. Can you publish them? No, I wouldn't publish any of that stuff. No, I wouldn't. It's also like stuff that I started when I was younger and then finished when I was a little bit older, but I was still young. So I don't know. It just doesn't reflect like anything that I would write nowadays at all. But I don't know. It's a lot. Though now that I've done it once, I feel like I understand how I would do it differently another time to make it go way faster. Way faster. So I don't know. I don't have the time. I don't have the fucking time. And I'm more interested in helping the games industry. Straight up. That's all. That's all.